Welcome to Messy Liberation, the podcast that dives deep into feminism, business, and personal growth. I'm Becky Mollenkamp.
And I'm Taina Brown. Get ready for another messy conversation through the eyes of two intersectional feminist coaches.
Let's get messy.
Do I want to know why you were up all night?
Part of that was staying up with my dog.
Yeah.
So she has to take meds at night, but a lot of she also has to take meds during the day. But that means she sleeps a lot more than she normally does, which she normally sleeps almost all day anyway. So one of us has to stay up until she wakes up for the last time at night to give her meds and take her out if she needs to go. And
you know, there's people who will say that having a dog is nothing like having a kid. And in some ways, that's true. And in some ways, they're fucking lying, because having a dog can be as much work or more work than having a child, because it's like having a little kid that never grows up. At least with your kids, eventually they grow up and become more self-sufficient. In the case of dogs, they actually become less self-sufficient as they get older.
So I stayed up reading, waiting for her to get up, and she finally got up late in the night or early in the morning, however you want to call it. But by that point, I was so deep into what I was reading.
See, reading's always a part of it. I knew there was going to be, if we get to the real truth, there's reading
You're just
involved.
Waiting for me to confess.
Yes, because whenever you're up until 6 a.m., I figure there's got to be some amount of fanfic involved.
Yeah.
I'm just going to
finish this. So I just finished it. So, yeah.
Well, you look lovely today. Your hair is shining.
It's greasy. And these are my PJs, my Old Navy holiday PJs.
On camera, it looks like shiny hair and like a silk blouse. So don't tell anyone any different. I, on the other hand, do look washed out and anyway, not here to talk about ourselves in that way. Because it's not helpful. So you asked right before we hit record, how are you? And then I said, let's just hit record and find out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shitty. And I think I'm just having a really bad day.
Aww.
Which I figure my mess that I can bring to the room then is how you deal with bad days.
Yeah.
First of all, I think I might be developing frozen shoulder. So anyone going through perimenopause may have heard about frozen shoulder. I'm very concerned that's what's happening. I'm having a good amount of pain kind of in my trapezius area and then into the shoulder, and it's been it's been getting worse over the last week or two. So I think I might be in the freezing stage before the frozen stage, as I've been learning more about frozen shoulder, which makes me nervous because it's my left arm and I'm left-handed, and some of the women I've talked to who've gone through this couldn't even wipe themselves, and this is not the future I'm looking forward to. So I'm really hoping I'm wrong, but I'm also nervous because there's that. So I have a constant level of pretty intense pain in my shoulder/back right now, which I know and anybody who has any kind of chronic health issue knows. When you're dealing with a low hum of pain or discomfort or whatever, that already makes everything else more difficult. I can't even just moving my arms in certain ways, I'm I can't even sit certain ways without pain. So that obviously is just gonna start your day off shitty when you just wake up and you're already movement hurts.
Yeah.
So then on top of that, I think because of the book I'm writing, I'm feeling comparisonitis more acutely than normal and feeling hints of rejection get amplified. So because I'm writing this book, I just completed the first draft. Basically, there's holes that I need to fix, but that's huge. I mean, it's almost 200 pages. I've never written anything 200 continuous pages. Now they're not continuous because of the way I'm presenting the content, but it's 200 pages. Anyway, I'm also in a bit of a vulnerability hangover with it of okay, this is there's this there and it exists. And what comes next is massaging it and getting ready to share it with the world. And I'm at the place now too, where it's it's becoming real enough that I need to start promoting to get people to actually read the book, which scares me to have them read it. Then trying to get them to sign up to want to read it is all scary. So there's all this vulnerability around that. And then that inevitably leads me down to this place of I had 2 people leave the membership, the collective for the podcast collective in the last 24 hours. Well, one left, one asked to go to from $5 a month to $0 a month, which is fine because want to be able to provide that flexibility. I had someone else join in that time too, okay? But the messages of people leaving, it feels like rejection. And I'm already in this place of feeling vulnerable about having to share about the book and all the fears that brings up around everyone's going to hate it. No one's going to read it, all that stuff. Then having people like cancel their memberships feels like rejection and like nobody likes you and evidence of that. Right. And then I was just in an education session today with these coaches who I love, and they walk, like, these people really walk the talk around values and everything. They're great. And their business makes a lot of money. Not like millions. They have an enough number. Like, they're not trying to become those people, but their net revenues are like 300,000. Profit is around 2, something like that. So it's like, it's good money. It's not like they're, Rockefellers or whoever, Muffs. But I felt that I got really triggered as they were sharing, because they're very transparent about money and everything. And as they're sharing those numbers, I felt myself getting so triggered. In fact, so much that I actually muted and left for a while, because it's like, I could feel it all getting activated in my body of like, I should be farther along. I should be doing better in my life, all the stuff, right? And just the ways that I'm judging myself. So like, and it's not even 11 a.m. as we're recording this. And all of that's already sitting there. And my son gets out of school early today. So in some ways that's great, because I can have, if I want to, I can take time and just do time with him. But that's also parenting, and that can be challenging. And I'm just like, I don't know. What do you do when you just can, like, when a day just feels not good?
Yeah, when it's
and like,
just a shit day.
And then there's also that part of me that's going like, yeah, but I have all these, like, there are things that I should/need/want to do to get done today. And there's this other part of me that's like, I should just scrap it all.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's right either. So anyway, trying to release some of this tension. Curious how my messiness right now is like, how do you just deal with the fact that sometimes it doesn't matter how hard you try, it doesn't matter how evolved you are, it doesn't matter, like
how much you can self-coach yourself.
Right? Sometimes life is just really fucking hard, and you just have those days where you're just like, adulting sucks. Life sucks. Not that I don't want to live. I do. But like, just, those heavy fucking days. How do you deal with them?
Yeah.
What do you do? Not that I'm looking to you to give me the answers, because, I'll probably do what I'm going to do anyway, but I'm just curious how you manage them. Like, if I'm being totally honest,
Well, I think this topic is relevant because I have had a slew of shitty days lately, for various reasons. My health, family drama, business stuff.
The
dog. Yeah, we put down our other dog in September. We might have to put this one down before the year is over, which is literally like 2 or 3 weeks away. So, it's just been a series of shitty days. Actually, I was thinking about this yesterday. I was just like, the past year and a half has just been incredibly shitty.
I mean, I was just having the conversation the other day. I'm like, if I get really honest, at least since 2020 has felt there degrees of shittiness. I mean, there's not like it's non-stop shittiness, but there has felt like there's been more punctuated moments of shittiness.
Yeah. There's definitely good days. There's definitely been good days.
Sure.
But
yesterday I actually had a pretty good day. That's what's also frustrating.
Yeah.
When you like have a good day, and then the next day you're like, what happened?
Yeah. The roller coaster. I'll be honest, like, and I think it might feel too early in the day for you, but like for me, especially because of my chronic illness, like I have learned that sometimes a shitty day can't be turned around. Like trying to turn it around just makes it more shitty, because that is exhausting physically and emotionally to me.
You're gaslighting yourself, right?
Right.
A lot of emotional drain.
Yes.
There's a lot of emotional drain in that. Yeah.
It's emotional gaslighting, but then like the mental and emotional effort that it takes to be like, I'm going to turn this day around and it'll end well. Like, excuse me. It triggers my fibromyalgia. And so then it becomes a worse day, which can turn into a series of bad days as opposed to just one shitty day. So sometimes I just let the day be shitty. I'm just like, I'm calling it. Like, what time is it? I'm calling it. It's on the record. It's a bad day. I'm just going to let it be bad. And what that means looks different. Sometimes it means like not doing all the things that I had planned to do. Sometimes it means only doing a handful of the things that I had planned to do. And so, and I know that can be tough when you're a parent, right? Because it's not just you and your spouse. You have like another human being that is relying on you to show up. But I think it just bad days aren't going anywhere. Bad days aren't going anywhere. So it's a matter of just understanding how much your capacity fluctuates on a day-to-day basis. So if on a scale of 1 to 10, today's shittiness so far, because it has the potential to get better, but it also has the potential
Right. It
to
could
get
get
worse.
worse. I got to leave some room for that. I'm going to call it a 7, knowing that it could get to a 10.
Yeah. So if it's already that high, then I think there's a reevaluation that needs to happen about what you had planned for today. So that way you do have space, emotional capacity
Yeah.
and mental capacity for your spouse and for your child. That's the other thing. It's like sometimes I try so hard to make it not a shitty day that it takes so much emotional and mental bandwidth that I end up just being shitty to my wife because then I don't have the bandwidth to manage that
Yeah.
relationship in the best way.
I'm being shitty to my husband, love you, but like that's different because he's an adult with capacity and he, in his own agency and everything. I don't want to be shitty to my kid because it's unfair. It's unfair to him. He's 9. Like he shouldn't have to bear, because I have been in that place of knowing what it feels like to be taking on the challenges of a parent, right? And I don't want to do that to him. So I don't know. It is hard because it's like I think there may be some hormonal stuff that I'm not yet aware of, like because of the perimenopause. It's not like I had the predictability, and not everyone who's not in perimenopause does either, but I don't have the predictability of like, oh, I know I'm in this part of my cycle. So I don't know. There could also be some hormonal stuff that I'll be like, oh, that explains some of it when it shows up. It's also really gray out, and I love winter, but it is a season. I love it, I think, because it feels like cocoony.
Yeah.
Like it, for the real wintering of winter, and I'm not wintering, right? Like, I mean, I'm indoors more, but I'm not resting.
Yeah.
I'm not, in fact, I'm in more productive mode because of the book and trying to work on that I think I'm putting so much into it. Like the fact that I've written a 200-page book in
it's been like a
month and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a month and a half or something. It says that should tell you something about how much time I'm spending on it, right?
You're definitely not wintering.
No, it speaks to the state of my business somewhat that I have that much time in my days to give, but also like it's my hyperfixation. I'm really excited about it, but I do think like as often happens, I don't know if this is a neurodivergence issue or something, maybe other people would know, but it's like, I think I can get so hyper-focused because something's so exciting to me that then I put so much into it that at some point it shifts and it stards to lose some of its excitement because I've overdone it. But it's really hard to stop myself from overdoing it when I'm feeling that excitement. Like even though I know it's inevitable that I might end up burning myself out and feeling like creating resentment or frustration around the thing, it's like I can't seem to stop myself. Like there's this compulsion.
Yeah, you just gotta immerse yourself.
So it's like this inevitable thing. So like I'm feeling all of that. And I think if I'm honest with myself, what I think the answer number one, I haven't had a hotel time since, when did I do that? August, maybe?
Well, that's a long time. Don't you try to do it every month?
No, I try to do it every 3 months. So 4 times a year. So I would have been due, normally it's February, May, August, and like October-ish or November. But I skipped that. I haven't done that one. I haven't done my fall time, and I think I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
So I think I need to have an honest conversation with my partner. It's hard this time of year, which is why I usually try to do it before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like early November is when I typically do that one, and then I go again in February. But I have already warned him, like, because of the book, I want to take some time away to be able to go and like actually have large chunks of time to look at it. But then I guess part of me is like, okay, I need to just make that happen, the hotel time. But I know that it will be spent in activity and not real rest. So I don't know if that's really the answer. But I do think I need to I need some solitude soon. I can feel my like frustration with my partner and my child even.
Yeah, you need that space.
Amping up because I haven't given myself the space I need as an hardcore introvert to like reset and build up that capacity. So there's that. But as far as today, if I can give myself this gift, we'll see. I have one more call after this today in community, and then I pick up my child because he's out early, these fucking schools. they're never like, I thought it was like, oh, I get 8 hours a day for like, no, it's 7 hours a day. And most, like every week, it seems like they have some early release. So they're out early today. I think I should pick him up and he and I should go shopping because we need to do some Christmas shopping for his dad, for the grandparents. And also because in 2 days I have to turn in, we adopted, quote unquote, adopted, whatever they call it. I don't like that terminology, but for some kids in need in his school, Christmas shopping we need to do for those kids. And so I think maybe that would feel good, spending time with my child, doing something that feels meaningful, like helping some children in need, being out, not just in the
Out of the
house, even
house,
though it's cold out there. But so I'm thinking if I can bring myself to do that, then that would probably help. And then when my husband comes home, telling, I don't know which word's right,
discussing.
sharing that I need some time and seeing if he could take over the evening duties with my child, even though they're really light these days,
Yeah.
because frankly, he spends a lot of his time on his screen, which we can talk about that another time. And just maybe allowing myself to rest, like actually lay in bed, watch some shitty TV that I want to watch. There's a Christmas movie I want to see, Champagne Holiday or something that I heard was pretty good on Netflix, like cheesy thing like that my husband doesn't like, and just relax. And then give myself that and maybe take something for the pain, whether that's a gummy or something else, and go to bed early. So like that, I think if I'm like, when I sit in my truth of what would feel good, that's what it is.
Okay.
Will I do all of that? I don't know. Isn't it interesting how we can know, like
know better
my
and
body,
not do better?
Yeah. Where I'll think all that and then I'll get my kid. He'll be like, I don't want to go shopping. Even though if we did it, he would be fine. He would, but his immediate reaction, I know, will be like, no, I want to go home because he wants to get on his device. And then I might cave and I might come home. And then if I'm home, I might as well work on my book or work on other stuff I need to work on. I'm way behind on email.
It's going to be that first decision. Yeah. That will
chain react.
Yeah. Can you hang on a second? I think my dog is stuck under the coffee table.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
God, it hurts so
God. Okay.
All right. So here's what I did then to help with making the first step. I just took the first step, which is I texted my husband to say, I'm in a lot of pain. But it's funny how like I can feel the embodied experience of all of this. And I don't know if it's because of I feel like I want to cry now, which is so wild. Now we're going to be BRB crying because like here I am going to be crying.
We love you guys.
But texting him saying I'm in a lot of pain. Something about saying that I'm in a lot of pain makes me want to cry. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's because the pain is real and it's just feeling that in my body, or if it's like the admitting that it means I can't do the things I want to do.
Yeah.
And I am sure that you understand this in a way that because I haven't lived with disability like that. I've always been very privileged in having very little pain. I mean, I have some amount of chronic pain, but not debilitating or anything. And this is like today, this feels
debilitating.
Like it's limiting.
Yeah.
It feels limiting. Yeah. So I don't know. There's something about saying that just makes me want to like cry. But anyway, so I asked him, I just texted him, said, this is how I'm feeling because of the pain. It's making it hard for like, I'm really grumpy. I can feel myself being really grumpy. And would he take over when he comes home? I know he'll say yes.
Yeah.
So I have to, the inner work then becomes allowing it without guilt, which is always a challenge, as I'm sure you know. But that does feel like at least a first step.
Yeah.
Because now that I've spoken it, texted it, put it in the world, I can't take it back, right? And that helps because otherwise, left to my own devices, if I'm just sitting, going along, functioning, I will often put it back in and just be like, forget. Now it's out there. So that helps. And then the next big thing will be when I go pick up my kid. Will I say, no, not do you want to do this, but just say, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the big thing is I have to frame it in the way that it's like, he just knows this is happening instead of voicing his like, I want to do this instead kind of thing. So I'm going to challenge myself to do it because I can feel it. I'm hurting.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm hurting. And my body is saying, you need to go lay down. So can I just allow myself to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think talking about it the way we started out, it feels theoretical, right? Because it's like, this is what's happening. What if I asked for what I needed? What if I took time off? What if it didn't get better or what if it did get better? But then like once you take that step of like actually telling someone else, like, no, this is actually what I need, then it becomes real. And
Yeah,
then it's
that's where the
this, yeah, and then it's like this internal, what's the word I'm looking for? It feels almost like conceding.
That's exactly it. I was just editing something, one of our recent episodes where you were talking about, I think it was the last episode we had, so this is going to be familiar, because I think you were just talking about your own issues around the challenges you're having with ability and disability, and that feeling like you're like the challenging of what is, and being like, but I don't want it to be
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
That sucks. I don't like it. I want it to be this. And it feels like settling.
Yeah.
And I think that there is that piece of, once I say it out loud, or like take it from what if to like I am going to, it does feel like, for me, less than settling, it feels like failure. It feels like failure, which it shouldn't. I can't control. First of all, perimenopause is a motherfucker, and I don't have any control over it.
Yeah.
Believe me, if I did, I'd be like, I opt out. No thanks.
Yeah.
Where do I sign up to say I don't want to go through this? I wouldn't be choosing frozen shoulder. This isn't something I didn't even do anything. Not that that matters, but it wasn't like I was out throwing baseballs 100 miles an hour or something, right? Like, I'm literally just existing, and my body is saying no. Because this is something that happens in perimenopause. All sorts of things that don't make any sense and don't have any reason. They just show up. So it's not like I've done anything to make this even happen. Not that it would matter if I did. And to then have to say, I can't hack it, quote unquote, right? Like, that's what it feels like. It feels like saying, I can't hack it, so I'm a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have to involve a partner, then it feels like, which this is gross, but this is the messiness. Because it feels like then if I'm failing, logically then, right, they're winning.
Yeah.
That's not what a relationship is.
Yeah.
And I certainly wouldn't feel that way when he does it, but there's this thing that comes up for me of that, of like, oh, so now he's in the power position, because he's the one he's caring for me, or he's taking over so that I can go rest. So now, like, he somehow has the power. That feels so icky to say out loud, but I know that stuff is in there.
Yeah.
Like, I can feel it in there as part of what that's about. And by the way, he's already messaged and said yes, that's fine. He's going to be home a little later than usual, not much. But after that, he'll take over. And it's like, okay, can I just let that be? Anyway, I took a first step.
You took a first step. Sometimes, if nothing else happens today, at least you did that. You took that first step to just ask for what you need and acknowledge it.
I think and the talking about it is important, because otherwise I don't, and then I stuff it. This is how I show up in the world. I stuff it, and I just go through the motions, and I get to somehow feel like I'm winning.
Yeah.
At what cost?
Yeah.
Right? And for saying it out loud, it's just helpful. It's helpful to hear, like, I know I'm not the only one who deals with this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, it's rough. It is rough out there. One thing that I realized, what's today? Wednesday? God, fuck. Monday. Because I am a bit of a hermit, but I did
Me too.
a few months ago when I started dabbling back into writing. I started out writing in the middle of the night, and then I would just it was the same process as reading in the middle of the night. I would just get caught up and then just stay up all night writing. And you should know my writing process. 2/3 of that time was just staring at the screen and chewing on my fingernails, right? So it wasn't like I was furiously typing at my device. So I was like, okay, I got to find a better way to write where I'm not doing these all night binges and then just too tired to do anything for days after. So I found a local writing group that meets up. They meet up twice a week, but I only go once a week. And I started doing that. And I try to go every Monday. It's every Monday night for a couple hours at this food hall. And every Monday afternoon, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to go. I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to leave the house. But then I go, and then I'm glad that I went. One, because it gets me out of the house. It's an easy excuse to get me out of the house outside of having to leave for a doctor's appointment or run errands, because it seems like that's two of the only ways I leave the house these days is one of the multiple doctor's appointments that I have, or groceries or whatever. And then also, it's been a nice, just kind of consistent cadence for me to just okay, every Monday for a couple hours, I focus on writing, whatever that process looks like, whether it's editing, whether it's brainstorming, whether it's actual writing. All that to say, oh, I feel like I'm talking in circles here, but all that to say, like, as someone who is a hermit and also like my capacity does fluctuate. Usually not that much, but sometimes wildly, in terms of like what I can do because of, my disability or other shit that's happening in the world or personally. Having that for the past few months, I found has like created space for extra capacity because it's like dedicated time for me for something that I'm doing just because I enjoy doing it, not because I have to do it. And so all that to say, like, I don't know if you have something like that where it's like, I know like a lot of like your business stuff, when you get like in that hyperfixation mode, like that's a level of enjoyment I think that is on par with like doing something just for the joy of doing it. Because like because of like the neurodiversity and the hyperfixation, like you get that same kind of like dopamine hit, but outside of like family and work related things and things that are really obligations, no matter how much you might enjoy them. Like we can enjoy our obligations, but they might still be obligations, right? Like, is there
Yeah.
anything that is just yours that isn't an obligation that at any point you could be like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. And there would be no real
There is not.
consequences.
There is not. However, I have been thinking, so I've been, I don't know if I've said here, I think so, that I've been thinking about starting knitting or crochet
Mm-hmm.
because I'm feeling like I want to handcraft, which will be interesting with this whole shoulder situation and what that ends up looking like. But I think mostly with frozen shoulder, it becomes you can't lift your arms
Yeah.
in certain ways, but I can still, or, move it back and stuff. But I should be able to still do, like, I think, we'll see. Also, I'm not conceding that I'm going to have frozen shoulder. I just want to tell the universe that. Like,
Yeah.
I do not concede. I will continue to fight this. But anyway, I think I might be able to do something with my hands. But I also realize, why the fuck am I trying to make myself learn something new and buy a bunch of new supplies when I already have a whole bunch of cross stitch thread that somebody had sent me because I was going to make friendship bracelets, and I know how to cross stitch. So I put on my Christmas list a bunch of like adult cross stitch things and was like, you know what? I'm going to try and get some cross stitch kits or some just directions. Also, I could probably just find online the directions. So all I need to go get is the actual cross stitch background piece and a hoop. My mom probably even has a hoop. Look at me. I'm like, I probably literally just need to go buy the one thing. And so that is something I'm going to try and challenge myself to do before the end of the year, is like just engage in something like that. In the meantime, I can also paint rocks. How many times have I talked about painting rocks? But I'm not doing it. And the paint's like staring at me right there. So like maybe today I could paint a rock in my resting thing. But no, the answer is no, I don't have that. But I did just write down 3 names of people who live locally. I just had coffee with one of them and she was really wonderful. It was so nice to get out and talk not business. We talked parenting, but still it was not business. So I'm going to try to also in 2026, 3 people. If I met with each of them once a month, that's once a quarter per person. It's not a huge ask, I don't think, to say, would you like to get together for coffee and or quiet co-working once a quarter? I think each of them would say yes. And that would, and maybe I could also meet some new people, but that would also be something that would get me out. Like speaking of the hermiting and like doing something else. So anyway, I'm going to keep thinking about some ways to challenge myself, but no.
Yeah.
But I also want to make sure we move on to your mess before we run out of time. So do you have a mess today?
Oh, which one should I pick?
Well, I don't know. Which one have you not talked about? It could also, again, if you don't want to get too like, because I know you've had a couple where you're like, this feels really vulnerable. It could also just be a mess you've seen in the world.
There's a lot of personal mess happening around it. There's obviously the dog stuff. And so there's some family stuff, and I'm having to like really
Family stuff can be interesting if you're willing to share some of that, because this is coming out December, whatever, 14th. And it's like, everyone's getting ready to deal with family stuff.
Yeah. I won't go into too much detail, but with like the family stuff, like I'm really having to consider, like for real, what the process might look like to declare a family member mentally incompetent. So there's that.
That's challenging.
And it's like, fuck, it's like right around the holidays, and it's right around also having to deal with the dog stuff. I think here's a mess. Like, I'm a dog person. I've always like grown up around dogs. And this last dog that we had 2 dogs, Luna and Foxy. Luna is the one that we put down a few months ago because she was in kidney failure. And now we have Foxy, who is 17.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah. Luna was almost 19. Yeah.
Well, they're little dogs.
They're
too,
little
just
dogs.
to be
Yeah.
clear.
They're small
Little
dogs.
live
Yeah. They're
longer
lap
than big.
dogs. And now her
But still, that's
kidneys,
a long life.
her kidney levels are elevated. She's blind. She has some other issues. And so we've been to the vet twice in a week. We have to go back next. And at this point, there's a part of me that's just like, I don't want my dog to be gone, but I also do want my dog to be gone.
I know that so
This
well.
is,
And it's so hard. You feel so much guilt.
yeah, like I feel like I just cannot deal with this anymore.
Can I I'll raise the ante for you, which maybe will make you feel better or not, or at least seen. I understand that at such a deep level that I understand it with humans as well. Like with my brother, that there was that feeling of like, I don't want my brother to die from this addiction.
Yeah.
And I also know that if he can't ever get healed, that continuing like this is not the best for any of us.
Yeah.
Which is like, it was, and that there's some really shitty feelings in that. Because it's not that I wanted my brother to die per se, right? But I didn't want him to live the way he was living.
Suffering.
And causing, right, his suffering. And to be fair, like to be honest, and the suffering it was causing everyone else. Right? Which is, I think with the dog, it's like, not only is it Foxy suffering, it's also the suffering that it causes you and your wife every time you have to, like, because there's that emotional, like, the drain and all of that. So, like, and I understand it at such a level, I understand it with humans, which is really hard to say out loud, right?
Yeah.
But I think I share it to say, I think so many people who have dealt with, whether it's somebody who's deeply depressed, whether it's somebody who's got addiction, whether it's somebody who's going through really challenging health issues that, especially like a terminal diagnosis, these things where there isn't probably a good solution. Like there's not a fix, as it were, right? It's just like, that's hard. It's hard because the truth is, the end is where you finally get to start to live again in a way. And you don't want the end to come, but also if you know the end's inevitable, it's like, you just kind of want to skip to the part where you can get to that.
Yeah.
The part between the knowing and it happening, fucking challenging.
Yeah, it
like,
is.
You're in the muckiest, hardest part of it.
Yeah. Like a part of me is just like, let's just get it over with already. It's just, we
But
know
I'm sure
where this
every
is
time you have that
headed.
thought, there's also a lot of guilt.
Yeah.
We
know where this is headed. Even if she makes it to the new year, how much longer will she actually live? And will she not be suffering? Will we not be suffering? Plus, like, just the financial burden of having to care.
As soon as she said we've been to the vet twice, I was like this. She didn't see me, but I'm like, yeah, money. Like, that's every vet visit is hundreds at minimum of dollars.
We have like
taking my dog to just get his shot, her shots. Like that's gotta be
it's
pricey.
a lot. It's a lot. We have pet insurance that helps with the cost, but it still doesn't cover everything. Plus, like, because of her age and her conditions, like, we are very involved in what she has to eat. So, like, we're making most of her food every week, like, these meds that she has to take throughout the day. Like, it's so much. And I'm just like, I don't know how much more I have in me to, like, deal with this. And I know it's gonna, like, my wife is still not over having had to put a few months ago. And so, whereas me, I'm just like, okay, I did my crying and I've moved on. Like, it still hurts, I still get sad, but I'm just like, I'm done crying. But my wife is not like that. Like, when she's sad, she cries. Like, that's just how she expresses her emotions. And so,
which is healthy.
It's healthy, yeah.
It's also hard then because it's hard to see someone you love struggling.
Yeah.
Even if that's what they need, it's still really hard.
Yeah. I'm also just not used to, like, so many tears over a long period of time. Like, my family just doesn't do that. So I don't know what that says about me. But
no, I'm the same. When I had those tears earlier, I'm like, ooh, that's why when you talk about the BRB crying podcast, I'm like, I could never, because I don't cry much at all. I'm not a crier.
I only cry over, like, not fake things, but like TV shows, movies, books, like
I
that
don't
feels
cry over.
safe enough, I think, for me to just like really cry. And then occasionally I'll cry over my own stuff. But I think for the most part, I'm just like, okay, I shed my tears for my own stuff. Now it's time to go back to work, you know? But yeah, that's my messy thing. So having to deal with a family member who I might have to declare mentally incompetent, and also having to deal with the reality of my dog, who one has been in cognitive decline for a while. It's been almost, I think, a year since she's been on a cognitive decline.
Which that's hard enough.
Yeah.
Because that usually means up all night, incontinence issues that are a mess and a pain. Like, there's a lot just with that's hard, that it falls on you,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And she loved cuddles. She loved being held. She hates it now. She loved to like be outside and like run around and play. We take her out and she just like falls over. Like she can't even walk in a straight line. Like she just like,
It's so hard. I say all the time that I wish we had euthanasia for humans. Like, I know that we can, certain places allow it, but it's still pretty rare because of all of the sort of puritanical stuff that gets in the way. And as much as I say that, and I do believe it, and I think it's humane, having to ultimately
make that decision.
a choice of when, that's hard shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's hard. Because I've been there with dogs. Like, I had a cat that died on his own. Just like had a heart attack, basically. It was a undiagnosed sort of heart problem, died within 30 minutes, and that was really, really hard and traumatic. But I will tell you, it was a gift compared to every other pet I've had, where I've had to make the choice of when do we say goodbye. And that is so hard. And like, as much as I love that we get to have that gift to end suffering, having to like say, now's the time when the other person can't, whether it's a human or, a pet. Pets can't tell you, right? It's tough because
it's a big responsibility.
And you're always left wondering, did I do it too soon?
Yeah.
Did I do it too late?
Yeah.
Like, and when they can't say anything to you to tell you, you're just like, there's no good answer to that. So it's so hard of like, you're in that, again, you're just in that part of it that is so deeply uncomfortable and guilt-ridden and icky. Because it's just like, there's no winning for you right now with this situation. There's no like...
No, there's no good choice here.
No, and once you, like we said, you make the choice, you're on the other side of the choice, then you get to start, like, at least now I get to start tending to the wound, healing, moving forward, making new choices. But like, up until then, there's just there's not a lot of good. And I'm so sorry because you're stuck in that place.
Yeah.
And then it's extra hard if you two don't agree on the win.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I think we're trying to I think we haven't made the choice because we've just kind of been avoiding it.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a lot to lose 2 pets in the span of like 6 months. But they were so close in age, so it makes sense that, that it would happen so close together. And they weren't like...
I've been there.
They weren't like best friends. They were more like frenemies sometimes, but they were companions, and so there is the reality of like, once you lose for humans, once you lose like your lifelong companion, like there's evidence of a decline that happens. And
absolutely. And they've shown that happens with animals all the time. Like they can't say how they're feeling, but they're feeling heavy feelings too.
Yeah. 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 I think also because she's still eating, like if she had lost her appetite, we'd be like, okay, she's kind of given up, but she's still eating. So then there's a part of us that's like, kind of like, well, maybe it'll get better, but I don't think it'll get better.
Sadly, probably not. Although you've had that experience with Luna where she rose from the dead, basically. So like, that is challenging. I think that there's an added thing of like, well, maybe this one will also be like, you know what, actually, guys, I think I want to live for another 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's pretty uncommon.
Yeah.
Usually with health, like with elderly health, because we're not talking, if she was 6, it's different. But that age, like, it's generally a decline.
Yeah.
Maybe little blips of up, but it's basically a steady decline down. And then it's just how long can you all, like, at what point is the pain, both the financial pain, just the mess in our life pain, the upset of our life pain, and also her physical pain, at what point is that enough to say goodbye? And it's so hard because there's not an easy formula.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice if there was just like your vet could say, today's the day?
Yeah.
But like, sometimes they do that, which is such a gift, but rarely. It's usually more like, well, you have to weigh these things out. And you have to decide.
They're very a good like vet with a really good bedside manner is like usually hesitant to bring it up, and it's more of like a questioning rather than a diagnosis.
Well, one thing I have with vets, if you ask them if this was your pet, what would you do? Often that softens them to a place of being able to say, this is what I would do, right? Instead of saying, what do you think I should do? It's like, what would you do if this was your pet? So if you haven't, that's a question you could consider asking, because often they'll say, this would be a point where I would probably.
Yeah. She did tell us there's like assessments that you can take that will just kind of, it's like a quiz, right? Where it'll tell you
like when it's time to let it go.
Like quality of life kind of thing. And so you just like answer a series of questions about quality of life, and then it kind of gives you a number. And so I did one of those yesterday after we got home from the vet, and it was on a scale of 1 to 12, and it was like at a 4. And I was like, oh fuck. Okay.
Did your wife take the same test? Because it sounds like she's the one who's farther from being ready than you.
I sent it to her. I don't know if she took it. We haven't talked about it. We haven't talked about yesterday's vet visit yet.
You're still in the avoidance.
Yeah.
Which I get. It feels like a lot of the things I do. Like if I just ignore the fact that my shoulder's hurting, I can sort of pretend that it's not and just let it go away. This is what I do with finances a lot, which is not healthy either, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I also understand it. It's like, I feel like we're like the little kids who are like this. And we think if I can't see you,
if I can't see it,
me.
It's not happening. Yeah.
If I cover my face, well, then I don't exist anymore. And it's like, well, it doesn't really work that way. But it's funny how we carry that into adulthood with shit we don't want to look at.
Yeah, I've been escaping into fanfic. Like I've literally been reading like 2 or 3 fanfics a day. Because I'm just like, I just need
that's
to
interesting, because I feel like your fanfic, it did sort of, maybe it was towards the, like, if we think back, was it the first dog, like, decline? I don't know. Is it,
no.
Like,
I started reading fanfic in February of this year. I think I started, well, I guess it was.
When did Luna?
Like shortly after Luna's decline, but it was right around the 1-year anniversary of like my hospitalization.
Well, there's a lot there then. Yeah, it's just, it's your avoidance. And as far as avoidance techniques go, it's a
quite
pretty
healthy.
good one. Certainly better than, drinking and drugs or like whatever, the million other things it could be, scrolling social media endlessly. But it's just good to notice that. If I'm up all night in fanfic, like, is there something here that maybe I need to think?
There was one fanfic that I read early on. It was maybe like the 3rd or the 4th one, that one of the main characters had a chronic illness, and it fucking wrecked. It sent me back to therapy. Like it messed me up so bad. I was like, yeah, I need to go back to therapy, because I don't think this is a healthy response to reading this story. So there's that, it's kind of a backdoor for me to process some of my emotions and some of my feelings. And so, but now it's all like holiday little shorts and stories that feel good and are cozy and are a reprieve from
and there's
everything
nothing
else.
wrong with that. It's just what, whatever. I mean, there is that part of like, when you'll know.
Yeah.
Not that helps in the moment, right? But I do think that saying is true for a reason. In the same way of like, when do you know you're in love? You just know. And like, when do you know it's time to let go of a pet or a loved one or whatever? Like,
Yeah.
And if you're not certain yet, it means you don't know.
Yeah.
The challenge again, though, is when one of you knows and one of you doesn't, right? But I think the fairest thing is probably for you both to get to the place of you both know.
Yeah.
Even if that's hard on the person who's known longer. But none of that, the reality is it's just fucking hard right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have a lot.
The world is hard in general. And then there's, almost everyone is going through personal shit too. So.
Yeah. Like, well, when are we not? Because again, like, right. If it's not this, it's something else, whether it's your body, betraying you, feeling like a betrayal of you, or your animals like hurting, or a family member hurting, or financial issues, or like, it just feels like there's never a time that we're not dealing with shit. That's
Yeah.
like humaning. Humaning is just hard.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I know. And it makes you start to go like, and so what's the point of it? But no, 'cause there's also there's all those wonderful moments, right? It's just sometimes when you're in the muck, it's hard to like see the wonderful moments.
Yeah.
It's hard when we're both in the muck. Today's a mucky day.
Today's a mucky day.
So I guess for anyone who's listening, if you're mucky, you're
welcome
not
to the
alone,
club, the muck club.
right? And then like, I guess for me, the thing I'm taking away is like, can I do that first step? Can I take the first step in support? I think for me anyway, and this may not be the case for everyone, but for me, doing it in community, having a way to do it with support so that I'm not dependent only on myself, because I defy myself all the time, but as an external validation, a people pleaser-y kind of thing, I'm much better when it's like, oh, if I do this right now, then I can report back to Taina. Oh, I texted my husband, asked for help. Okay, I did it, because otherwise I probably wouldn't, right? So is there a first, if you're wired like that, not everyone is, but if you're wired like that,
what's the first
then like,
step?
what's the one, what's that first step, and what's the support that would help you take that first step?
Yeah.
Right? Because like I can know what the first step is, but I don't take it.
Yeah.
But if I know the thing that helps me take it, which is like, I'm going to tell somebody I'm doing it and then do it while they're there, right? Then that helps me actually do it. So I guess that for me is what I'm taking away from this today is like, when I know there's a step I need to take, how do I get the support I need to make that first step?
Yeah.
Because for me, identifying the first step is not enough. I have to figure out how to actually get the support
done.
system,
Yeah.
the structure I need to make the first step happen.
Yeah.
So that's for me what I'm thinking from this.
For me, I think usually asking for help or like asking for what I need from whoever, whether it's like even like a doctor, or someone I have a personal relationship with, it feels like concession. Like it feels like failure. It feels like weakness. And so like one thing I've been for years, and I will say for years been working on, and I don't think it'll ever not be a struggle, is thinking about it less as giving up or like failing and thinking about it as like something that's expansive, like creating space, right? Like asking for help allows me to get the help that I need, which creates emotional, mental, and physical capacity. Then it allows me to actually maybe do some of the things I want to do, because now I'm not doing it alone and not trying to just like push through, and just get it done. And so it releases some of that burden of like having to do it all on my own. And so having that reframe helps a lot. Like, and I think that for me, that ties into a mindset of just like abundance and expansion as opposed to a scarcity mindset, right? Like me feeling like I have to do it on my own. Oh, I'm just one person. That's a scarce resource, right? But are you laughing at the way I'm saying it?
Yes, it's scarcity and scarce. I love it. It will never not be cute or funny to me, because I'm like, oh, she still says it that way. Even after like, I just be like, now you'd be like, oh, I'm going to say scarcity, but no, because that's how you say it. And it's okay. It's just so funny. Anyway, yes, it is scarcity to say that. And then what I try to remember too is I like to help people. I like to feel needed.
Yeah.
I like to feel helpful. I like to see the people I love succeed.
Yeah.
Why do I believe that's not true for the people who love me?
Yeah.
Right? Why do I believe that my husband doesn't want to help me?
Why
do
can't
I
you
believe
have the
my
same
husband
thing?
Yeah. But I do that to myself. So I try to remember that this is like that reciprocity piece is like that it goes both ways. And what is true for me is also true for others, and that I like to help. So can I not believe that he actually he wants to help? Not like he has to, or, you know what I mean? Like, can I just allow myself to believe that he wants help and then receive that? I can't always, but I try to remember that too, of like, that's how I want to show up in the world, in that reciprocity sort of place. And me denying my own needs all the time is not reciprocity.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not creating a really reciprocal sort of relationship.
Yeah.
And so then what kind of relationship is it? Because is it really even a relationship if it's not reciprocal?
Yeah.
And so
you're stopping
that's where I try
of giving.
Exactly. Right. And that's, like you said, it's sort of that scarcity mindset of like, no, I have to hoard here. And that's not okay. So anyway, thank you for this conversation. Thank you for being witness to me taking that first step so that it happened. And now the second step, which will be the equally difficult step, is saying when I pick my son up, here's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're going to go take the afternoon and do some stuff because mom needs to get out of the house.
Yeah.
And you're coming
Yeah.
along.
Do you usually like communicate well, not usually, but do you sometimes like communicate it like that to him? Like, we're doing this because this is what mom needs from you right now versus like, we're doing this because, okay.
I like to, I always try, it's difficult. That'd be a whole other episode, but like the challenges of wanting to do all of that and also not make him start to feel the burden of being a part of my joy. Like, I don't want him to feel responsibility for, right? Like, so I don't want to be like, you have to do this now because mom's sad and you need to help make me feel better.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want it to be that. But I also want him to see what it looks like to advocate for your needs because I talk to him a lot about self-advocacy and what that looks like. And so I think maybe just even framing it that way of like, mom's going to advocate for what she needs right now. And what I need right now is this, right?
Yeah, to spend this time with you in this way.
Yeah. And I want him to see what that looks like. And I know he'll do it. I only worry because I can see him developing some amount of people pleasery things as well.
Yeah.
And so trying to navigate that. That's the shit that we can talk about that next time. The challenges of parenting.
Well, I was going to ask, like, I mean, I know he's young, but, and I don't know if this question is just because I'm not a parent, but like, isn't he on some minor level responsible for your joy as well? Like, if we think about our families as being part of our community, like obviously not to the expanse of like someone like your husband or like a sibling or a parent, but
I don't know. Maybe we can talk about that next time because I have a lot of thoughts on that of like, I don't feel like anyone should bear any responsibility. And maybe it's just the word choice. Maybe it's a contribution. Responsibility feels like it is mine to carry. And I don't think that should ever be the case. No one should feel responsible for anyone else's feelings. Can they contribute to creating feelings? I think so, right? Because you can contribute to whether those are good or bad by your actions, but I don't think that you are responsible because that takes away all the individual agency in a way and also puts a heavy burden onto other people.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to feel like I'm responsible for how you feel.
Yeah.
But I would love to contribute, find ways to contribute to your happiness. So maybe that's it. I feel like you should be a contributor to my happiness or can be a contributor to my happiness. He can also be a contributor to my sadness.
Yeah.
He's not responsible for how I feel.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I think in my mind, I'm thinking like shared responsibility. Like it's not solely on him, but it doesn't also, like he's not also like outside of the circle, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to reflect on.
Yeah.
I'll spend some time
thinking about it. That's a conversation for another time.
Yeah. Because I think about this all the time with parenting and like trying to navigate all that stuff where it's like you want to raise a really emotionally intelligent human who's going to have empathy and all of that. And I also don't want to repeat a lot of the stuff that's toxic. If we take some of that too far, it becomes really toxic.
Yeah.
And so that's challenging. Okay, next time maybe, if we remember, God only knows what we'll remember a week from now, but if we remember, maybe we'll come back to that discussion.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I wish you and Foxy, and Mello, lots of tenderness as you go through this end of life march. Whenever it concludes, what you have ahead of you is hard. So
thank you.
Harder than even my shoulder, which hurts. But that, like you're going, I think the emotional stuff's way more difficult than the physical stuff. So I wish you guys lots of peace through that process.
Have fun Christmas shopping.
All right. Thanks. Yeah. Let's try to find something light to end it instead of my horrible,
get out in that wintry weather.
It is December 10th and I have bought exactly 0 Christmas presents.
Yeah, we haven't either.
And so that's about right for how I usually am. I think my husband's actually already started buying things. I'm like, okay, that's not good. I need to get on it. So anyway, yeah. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, whatever your
happy holidays
stuff is,
or happy not
just getting
holidays.
on it is hard. Yeah, maybe that's what we'll talk about too, is how to navigate this time of year. But anyway, okay, lovely to see you.
Thanks for listening to Messy Liberation.
Thank you so much for your support and for listening today.
Until next time.